Welcome to Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In, where automation professionals can stay in touch with the latest enhancements in sensing, data communication, and control.
Welcome to Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In. Today I have Steve Basinski with me, and he has an awesome product, which is actually a camera. Steve, hi, how are you doing?
Hello, Helga. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, great. Steve, Industrial Event Cam, that's what you brought, right?
That's right. It's a new event for Pepperl+Fuchs that we wanted to introduce, and it is, like you said, an industrial event camera.
So tell us why anybody would care about this. Why is it important to know?
It's good to know because when certain events happen in an area that you don't always have eyes on, you want to know what happened at certain points so that you can correct the process going forward.
Okay, so this is a camera that records live images, or it records images, or I should not say records live. It records images, or it streams images?
Actually, it does both. You have the option of streaming it to an HMI so that you can see a live view of what's going on at all times. And you also have the option of recording events based on an external trigger or a trigger through a PLC.
Okay. So why don't you tell us? I think everybody pretty much understands live streaming. You know, we do this nowadays, video conferencing and so forth all the time. But tell us about this recording feature. That seems to be different.
Sure, there's an option to record individual events and store them on an internal SD card. Now, this is done via an internal ring buffer, which will actually record a given amount of time prior to the event and a given amount of time after the event so that you have a full picture of what happened during that time, before and after.
Oh, that's magic. You freeze time. You can actually go back in time.
It's somewhat. You have a view of what's going on based on the settings that you input for that buffer. So it can be a given amount of seconds before and a given amount of seconds after, depending on how long your process takes and how much you need to see during those times.
So, Steve, we'll of course be talking about the applications in a second. But before we do that, can you tell us what this camera looks like and what it does to actually hook it up and use it?
Sure. So the dimensions are roughly the size of a standard photograph, length and width, and the depth is roughly the depth of a deck of playing cards. So very compact for what it does. And we offer an aluminum housing that makes it more industrial and better able to withstand the harsh environments of our applications. And to connect it, there are simply two ports on the device, one for power and one for your Ethernet connection.
Okay. In the industrial space, temperature sometimes frequently plays a role. Is the event cam any better than, let's say, something that I use for my video conferencing every day?
It is. So with the industrial housing that we offer, it can survive environments of operating temperatures anywhere between negative 30 degrees Celsius and 50 degrees Celsius.
Okay. All right. So you talked about the ring buffer earlier. I think that's what you called it. And tell us a little bit about how you would use it. How do you set this up? How do you configure it? What tools are available?
So the camera can be configured via the web interface, saying this is accessed via an IP address. So there's a standard IP address that comes on the camera, and it can be configured as the customer needs it to be. So if they have multiple cameras on their network, each one would have a separate IP address, and each one can be accessed individually.
And then when this event triggers, the video is recorded on the internal memory. How many of those? I mean, can you only store one of those videos, or can you store a whole bunch?
So it can store multiple events or multiple videos. Now, the amount of videos that you can store is going to be dependent on the resolution that you select when recording these events. So you can stream in one resolution if you wanted to watch it in high quality on an HMI, or you can record it in a high resolution as well in order for more detailed videos, or in order to store more videos, you can lower your resolution.
Okay, so full flexibility for the user.
Absolutely.
All right, so web interface, great. Everybody understands that. That's pretty common. That's pretty standard. Now, I think it's time to to go and talk about applications, can you mention 2 applications where this comes in really nicely?
I sure can. So we can speak about one safety application. So even though the industrial event camera is not a safety device, it can be used alongside safety applications in order to assist with determining what may have happened during certain events. So for example, you can have the industrial event camera tied to the output of a set of safety light curtains. If there's an area where employees should not walk through during operation, and if someone does for whatever reason, this will trigger the industrial event camera to begin that record process to trigger and capture that event. We can use that to determine why the light curtains were triggered, and we can also use that to verify that the safety light curtains are functioning as desired.
That is awesome, because safety triggers, they need to be taken very seriously, and it's costly if something shuts down. And to go in and use a clear video that captures the before and the after is an amazing way to figure out why something happened and what to do so it doesn't happen again.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great. Now, what's your second example, please?
Another application will be in the material handling area. So in a lot of different material handling applications, we have our ASRS, or our automated storage and retrieval systems. Often in these areas, they are very compact, very tight in order to utilize space well. So in these areas, you can place this industrial event camera to take a look with the live stream and also with the recorded events, to where if there is something that entered a field that it's not supposed to, we can take a video of that and determine what may have happened during that time.
Okay, which is yet another, even though it may not be a safety application, but it's an application where something happened that really is very disruptive, and you're going in and you're analyzing what caused it.
That's correct. What caused it, and then what may be needed prior to entering that area in order to fix it.
Great. So, Steve, from everything you told me, what I want to do next is I want to summarize what I've learned today. And while I do that, do you think about, as always, about the 5 words that we want our listeners to take away from our conversation? So let me try to summarize it. Tell me where I'm off, and tell me if there's anything we need to add. So the industrial event cam is really a video camera that does live streaming of videos and also records events based on a trigger. And the reason we want to do that is to analyze what caused something to happen, something that at the end of the day we really don't want to have. The system is very easy to use and quite compact. You compared it to the size of a photograph, a little thicker than a stack of cards. The picture that I'm having in my head is smaller than a paperback book. And the connection is easy, power and Ethernet, and configuration takes place via a web interface. And when used, what the outcome will be is a reduction in standstill time, because finally, it's possible to analyze what caused these annoying shutdowns.
Everything that you said is true, and what we promote with the industrial event camera.
Sweet. So, Steve, your 5 words, please.
The 5 words for our VOC, or our industrial event camera, are industrial event-driven video storage.
Great. Industrial event-driven video storage. Yep, exactly what we talked about. Freeze events in time so you can analyze them and make processes better.
Absolutely. That's our goal.
Thank you very much, Steve. This was very educational. I hope our listeners find it interesting and take a look at the Pepperl+Fuchs VOC event camera.
Helga, again, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Steve. Bye-bye, everybody.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Pepperl+Fuchs Plugged In. Please subscribe to our channel and never miss hearing about the latest innovations in factory automation.